You know, it's off season in college football, which means one thing. Everybody's complaining about how the sport is structured. I hate complaining. I prefer solutions. So what am I going to do? I'm going to fix it. Just for the Big Ten TED audience, first we're starting with how to fix the college football playoff. Before Texas and Oklahoma took their ball and went to the Southeastern Conference, we were talking about a 12-team playoff, and I was psyched. I was ready to go. Let's do it. Maybe this committee is doing something good. And then the shift and the focus went elsewhere once the Horns and the Sooners went to greener pastures. So let's get back into it. This is my solution to the postseason. The best way to crown a college football champion in FBS. Now, asterisk here. Got to work within the universe. I can't go out, shorten the regular season, 10 games, play a 64-team Mike Leach special. You know, you got to work within reality. You got to work within the universe. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Okay, who gets into this thing? We've got the top 6 conference champions. The wording in that is interesting. And I think that's the way it should be, because there's years the Pac-12 might be down. This new Big 12 might not be as good, and maybe we'll see the American, Conference USA, the MAC, all these other Mountain West, these other G5 conferences kind of rise up and have some good programs. So I think the top 6 ranked conference champions should get an automatic berth into the college football playoff. And then the next 6 at-large teams ranked that are not conference champions get into the college football playoff. Once you get into the playoff, 1 through 12, reseed them. 1 through 12 based on where they are ranked in the college football playoff rankings. Where are these games going to be played? I know you guys want home field advantage. I know you do. But I'm going to go neutral site, and I'll tell you why throughout the whole playoff I'm talking about. I'll tell you, especially the first 2 rounds, obviously. So here's why. First of all, you got to act within the universe. Neutral site, everybody loves neutral site games. That's been college football's big thing. When you get to these postseason games, you got to be on a level playing field. You got to be 70 degrees and sunny, or indoors, or something like that. That's always been their game, which I don't mind. I've never really minded that. That hasn't really been a big deal to me. But the big thing that sticks out to me is the group of 5. Okay, if every year, most years, the group of 5 champion might be ranked number 12. Right, the number 12 seed after everything's reseeded. Every year they got to go on the road to the number 5 seed, either a lower conference champion or a higher ranked at-large team. Either way, it's the number 5 team in this playoff. So that's going to be close to impossible each and every single year. You put it on a neutral site, it's a little bit more evenly matched. It's a little bit more of an even playing field, and I kind of like that. A little bit more. So the first 2 rounds, let's call it the wild card round, because it's a 12-team playoff. The top 4 teams get a bye, and I think that's important because teams are still going to be fighting to get in to that top 4, and there's still going to be a debate as to who's going to get into that top 4, and that's why the regular season is still important. We're not going to devalue the regular season with this playoff, because there's multiple tiers to get into this thing. And that first tier, obviously, is getting that bye into the next round, the round right before the Final Four. So everybody's still going to be fighting, of course, to get into that top 4. And, of course, the seeding and, of course, the matchups is also very important as well. So those first 4 wild card games, neutral site, hey, it doesn't matter where they play. I think sites will bid for them, NFL stadiums, whatever you want. Okay, then you advance from the wild card round into, let's call it the quarterfinals or the round of 8. Once again, these sites can be bidded on, doesn't matter. They're neutral sites, doesn't matter how they are. After that, we go into the Final Four, and it's kind of the same format. This playoff and the New Year's 6 are almost going to be one, and I'll explain why and how that works in just a minute. So you get to the Final Four, it's going to rotate, right? The rose and the sugar are still going to be paired up. The fiesta and the peach are still going to be paired up. What do I got? The cotton and the orange are still going to be paired up as semifinals on a rotating basis. Those semifinals are going to be on New Year's Day, right? New Year's Day is the day of college football. Those semifinals have got to be on New Year's Day. And then, of course, the national championship, what is it like? The Monday after following a week, or however they do it, however that's worded, that's when the national championship would be. But the most crazy thing, the most people are going to think is controversial about this format is going to be the following. Okay, so that first wild card game will take place the Saturday after conference championship weekends. That's the second Saturday in December. Okay? Now remember, we have the rotating, let's just say it's Rose and the Sugar in the semifinals. Then the next year, the Rose and the Sugar would go to the back of the line. Okay? The losers of those wild card games would play in the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day. And then let's say the next up in line is the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl. So the losers in the round of 8 would play in the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl. And of course the semifinal then would be the Orange Bowl and the Cotton Bowl. And they would all rotate. Once you have the semifinals, you go back to the line and it just keeps going around and around in a circle. Okay, I understand those games look like consolation games. And they are now. That's the thing, is player opt-outs and all these things happening, the playoff on a different level than all of these things. That's just kind of how it is now. I don't want to be in a situation where you win the Peach Bowl to go to the Rose Bowl. I don't think the Bowls want that either, because it makes it appear that one bowl in that particular year is more prestigious than the other. Good luck telling the Rose Bowl, oh, you got to win the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy, to get to the Peach Bowl. Yeah, good luck telling the folks in Pasadena that one. That's not going to fly. That's not going to happen. And it does devalue, okay, if you're winning one big bowl game to go to another. So I think this is a way to work within the system, right? You're not getting, right? We said it at the beginning of the video. You got to work within the universe. You got to work within the system. And this is how you work within the system. So if you make it to the playoff, you are going to play in a New Year's 6 game. They are one. The New Year's 6 and the college football playoff in this scenario are one. Now, I said before, player opt-outs and all these things, they have lesser impact because of how the current structure is. So it's not that different, to be honest with you, from the current structure. I think it might even draw a little bit, oh, that team just played in the playoff. They had a shot and they almost pulled it out and now they're playing this team. You know, I think it could be, there will be no bowl tie-ins. That's going to be the hard sell for especially bowls like the Rose Bowl. No tie-ins at all. Now, of course, there might be preferred tie-ins, like, oh yeah, if a Big Ten team loses in a round and a Pac-12 team loses in a round, let's try to put them both in the Rose Bowl. There might be something like that. SEC in the Sugar Bowl, that kind of thing. But in terms of hard tie-ins, there won't be any more of those hard tie-ins with the New Year's 6 as well. So just to recap, the top 6 conference champions, 6 at large. The wild card round takes place the December after conference championship weekend. The weekend after that is the round of 8. All those games, all at neutral sites that can be bidded on. And then we go to the rotating bowl games in the Final Four. And of course, the national champions with consolations, the losers in the round of 12 and the round of 8 going to those other New Year's 6 game. And there's one other caveat to make this all happen. Early signing day, see ya. And that will kind of come into play with other videos that I'm going to have in this Fix It series. But that's my college football playoff format. I want to hear what you guys think of this. Do you like it? Do you think the consolation game thing is a little bit weird with the bowl games there? Or what would you do? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. It's great to be back. I've been a busy guy. Glad to be back. Glad to be talking off-season college football leading up to the start of the season in Ireland. That was a terrible Irish accent with Nebraska and Northwestern. The countdown has begun here on Big Ten Ted. I'm Big Ten Ted. We will see you in the next one.